If I asked you who the most important character in all of JJK is, most of you would probably give me responses like, it's obviously Yuji, you dummy. He's the main character after all. Or maybe even characters like Gojo or Sukuna, considering they are by far the most broken characters in the entire story and could single-handedly change the outcome of the entire manga alone. Hey, those are good answers, but you know, they're wrong, so they're not that great of answers. In all seriousness though, there's a character that single-handedly altered the course of JJK history forever, with the ramifications of his actions directly leading to the world-ending events taking place in the manga right now. And bro doesn't even have cursed energy. If you saw the thumbnail, then you already know who I'm talking about obviously, but I'm gonna announce it anyways. It's the Sigma Chad himself, Toji Fushiguro. Most people that are familiar with the manga or the anime right now already know how completely broken he is as a character. That goes without saying. His insane physical abilities and battle IQ are just that, insane. But do you know everything about him? Like how he single-handedly destroyed a nearly 1,000-year-old ritual that even powerhouses like Sukuna and Gojo wouldn't be able to break. A ceremony that was essentially guaranteed by destiny itself in the Jujutsu world. Well, I'm going to tell you some more about that, and also why Toji is hands down the most important character in JJK, period. If I time this right, by the time you see this video, you might have already seen exactly how strong and impactful Toji is in the story with episode 3 of the new season. And honestly, I hope you did, because there will be spoilers for what happens in that episode and everything afterwards in this video. When we first meet Toji, we find out that he had been hired by the Time Vessel Association to eliminate the star plasma vessel Riko Amani. If you've read the manga, you know that he not only completed this mission, but he even managed to take down 2 incredibly strong special grade sorcerers in Gojo and Geto. He did so without a single drop of cursed energy due to his heavenly restriction. Heavenly restrictions are described as bindings placed on a sorcerer's body when they're born. These bindings usually refer to limitations on the human body, where the person then receives improved abilities in a different capacity in exchange. In simpler video game terms, it weakens one stat of a character like defense to supercharge another stat like strength or stamina. This allows Toji to have truly inhuman strength, speed, and reflexes, because in exchange, he was born with absolutely no cursed energy, which at the time of his birth was something that had never been witnessed before. Not only did this give him a massive physical buff, it also allowed him to do things that no other person ever could in the Jujutsu world. As I said earlier, Toji managed to thwart a millennium-long ritual specifically because of his heavenly restriction as well. This of course being the merger of the star plasma vessel with Tengen, something that even the puppet master himself Kenjaku had failed to do on 3 different occasions. As Tengen explains in the manga, the star plasma vessel, 6 Eyes user, and Tengen themselves were tied together by fate, meaning that on the day that the merger needs to be completed, even if both the 6 Eyes user and star plasma vessel are killed, a new set will appear right on time. It essentially makes the merger inevitable. This is why Kenjaku lost to 2 separate 6 Eyes users before, and why even after he had eliminated another 6 Eyes user and a star plasma vessel within a month of being born, 2 new ones appeared right on time for the merger, as they always do. No Jujutsu sorcerer is capable of breaking this cycle. This is where Toji's heavenly restriction becomes extremely important. Since Toji was an anomaly, someone who was the first to ever be born without any cursed energy whatsoever, he was the first person to ever completely break away from cursed energy, and therefore wasn't bound by the chains of fate that affect the Jujutsu world. He has no cursed energy, so the rules of Jujutsu don't apply to him at all. Just to hammer home what an incredible feat this really is, imagine watching a movie that you've seen 1,000 times before. No matter how many times you watch it, it's always going to start and end the exact same way without fail. Now imagine if one day you're watching the same movie and suddenly a character you've never seen before pops up and randomly eliminates the main character of the movie, ending it abruptly right there and then. It's literally impossible for that to happen, but Toji did just that. The breaking of this ritual made it to where Tengen was essentially forced to evolve into more of a cursed spirit than a human, causing them to look like one of those thumb minion things from Spy Kids. Let me know in the comments if you know what I'm talking about, but anyway, moving on. This gave Kenjaku the opportunity to use his cursed spirit manipulation from Geto to take control of Tengen. Doing so allowed Kenjaku to put his long-awaited coordinated plan of merging all of Japan with Tengen into motion, threatening to end the world essentially. Toji eliminating Riko was the first domino to fall in what's led to the worst case scenario for the entire story. Had Toji never been born or involved in any of this, Kenjaku would have had no reason to start the Culling game and would have still been plotting as he has for over the past 1,000 years. The worst thing Kenjaku could have done at that point was steal Gojo like he did, and we just saw recently in the manga that even that can be undone. Along with messing up the merger, Toji was also the one to put Megumi in the care of Gojo and laid the groundwork for Maki to become an insanely strong person like she is now. Had Toji not told Gojo about Megumi before his death, Megumi would have eventually become the new head of the clan and possibly been brainwashed into adopting the pretentious and hateful habits that the Zenin clan has. On the flip side, you could also argue that this would have kept Megumi out of Sukuna's sights, and the fight between Gojo and Sukuna in the manga right now would be going way differently since he doesn't have the 10 shadows to use. Along with giving Maki the blueprint to her ultra strong body through heavenly restriction, he's technically responsible for her being alive at all. This is because when he was resurrected by Granny Ogami's seance technique, Toji's heavenly restriction allowed him to act autonomously and inadvertently save her from Dagon's domain expansion. He essentially came in, beat the shit out of Ino, caused some chaos for a bit and helped some people along the way, and then straight up went out like a boss. So Maki would have been done right there and then. She wouldn't have gone on to take down the Zenin clan or be a part of the Culling game as a major player right now. So years after his death, Toji is still affecting the story in several ways right now. This is why I say the most important character in the entire story isn't the MC Yuji. I mean, I'd argue that Yuji's been left in the dust in terms of development and strength anyway, but that's a conversation for a different video. It also isn't the King of Curses Sukuna or Gojo, even though they alone can single-handedly destroy the whole world pretty much. No, it's in fact someone that was in a total of like 15 chapters and spent his whole life being a degenerate in gambling with no skill as a sorcerer whatsoever, Toji Fushiguro.